The man paid a fortune to buy a corpse, one that was completely dead. He pretended it was his father, and sent it to a private hospital for emergency treatment. He begged the doctors desperately to save his father, no matter how much it cost. He was willing to pay. The doctors didn't even glance at the patient. Without hesitation, they pushed him into the operating room. Soon, they discovered the patient had no heartbeat, yet they still proceeded with the surgery on a dead man. Seeing how anxious the man was, they were sure he would pay whatever it took. This was the perfect chance to drain him dry. So, the doctors put on an act, rushing in and out of the operating room, making everything look urgent. Before long, the lead surgeon stepped out. He told the man he needed to pay an additional $500,000. The man panicked. He had already paid when he arrived, but the doctor explained his father's condition was critical. A top medical expert had to be called in, and specialists required an extra fee. The man rushed downstairs to make another huge payment. When he returned, the doctor came out again. He said the expert was on the way, but the patient's condition was deteriorating. They urgently needed special medication to stabilize him. The doctor handed him a prescription. He insisted the man buy the medicine from the pharmacy downstairs, the only place that carried those drugs. The man looked at the list. Dozens of medications? He had no idea what they were for. He had no choice. He filled 2 large bags with medicine. Spending half a year's salary, he handed them to a nurse and anxiously asked what the drugs would do. But the nurse, cold and dismissive, replied, "Your father's condition is complicated. You wouldn't understand." Then she turned around, took the medicine straight back to the pharmacy, and scolded the pharmacist. That guy was an easy mark, she sneered. Next time, give him the more expensive drugs. Higher prices, higher commission. Meanwhile, the man waited anxiously outside the operating room. Finally, the so-called expert arrived. With a grave expression, he entered the room. The family waited nervously outside, but inside, the doctors and nurses were relaxed, chatting, laughing. Every 30 minutes, one of them would step out, a solemn face, a heavy sigh. They played their roles perfectly. Each doctor and nurse was more like a seasoned actor. The man was tricked into paying several more times, until his wallet was completely drained. Only then did the doctors step out, faces full of regret. They told him, "We did everything we could, but your father didn't make it." The man pleaded, "Please, try again." But the doctor snapped impatiently, "No matter how hard we try, we can't bring a dead man back to life." At that moment, the man suddenly calmed down. He looked at the doctor and said, "But isn't that what you specialize in? Saving the dead?" Then, he pulled out a death certificate. He finally revealed the truth. The corpse was never his father. It was a dead body he bought from the crematorium. It had been dead for days. "So tell me," he asked, "you spent over 8 hours in that room. What exactly were you doing?"